Okay, today is Sunday, October 13th, and today I learned that you need to show your work in public. So, let's unpack this. I went on Sundays. I usually go to the fields and work on my softball skills with my dad, because it's the one day that I'm able to go to the fields and work on stuff. And it was a little bit different today, because there were actually, in this little field complex, there were actually other people there, and it's usually pretty empty on Sundays. There was a baseball game going on, and there was a player from the team that I want to play on. She was also practicing on a different field. So there's just more people around, and usually there's nobody there, and I can kind of just do my thing without having to think about other people. But weirdly enough, I was worried about what those other people were thinking about me. Which is, I don't know, it was unexpected. Just in general, worrying about what other people are going to think about you is just never a good idea. It's never helpful, really, unless it's someone of importance, that is an authority figure or something like that. But it was just completely unnecessary for me to be thinking like that. And I realized that I've been reading so many stuff, and I've just been seeing so many motivational quote stuff about you need to be the hardest worker, you need to work harder than everybody else, and you need to be grinding, you need to work super hard. And that is something that motivates me a lot, right? And it's something that I want to be. I want to be a person who outworks everybody, especially in the kind of position that I'm in. I'm small, I haven't been playing softball for a while, I am undervalued, and I want to be somebody who outworks everybody and exceeds expectations. So that kind of thing motivates me. And I was just thinking, okay, right now I am feeling a little bit of discomfort because I'm worried about what those other people are thinking of me. So I was just thinking, I need to get rid of that mindset and to be thinking, first of all, if I'm going to outwork everybody, it's going to be noticeable. People should notice that, whether they're actually seeing me working on my skills or they just see the fruits of it. Eventually people are going to realize that somehow, some way. But also I just realized that it is important to be exposed in that way, to be exposed in a way where your work is being exposed, basically. I guess this is something that I've been experiencing a lot within the past few weeks, because whenever I'm editing my videos, it feels weird for other people to watch me editing my videos, because I don't want them to see my work. This is something that I'm just realizing this now. I don't like it when other people are seeing the work that I put in. But I do want them to see that, because I do want them to see that I work hard. So it's kind of opposite. It's kind of weird. But basically, I just realized that it is important, and we need people to see. We need to show our work publicly. There's a book that I really, really love, and I really want to get a physical copy. But it's called Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. And basically, it kind of inspired me, or not inspired, but it was one of the driving forces of me creating this YouTube channel. Because it's just talking about how creating, it doesn't have to be super creating content influencery. It can just be you showing your work, showing what you're doing. And that was a really big light switch for me, because I've wanted to start a channel for so long, or I was wanting to start a channel for so long, and I was just this is it. All I need to do is show my work. And that's why I'm doing these What I Learned Today videos, because I'm in a way showing my work. I'm showing my brain. But anyways, showing your work. In this book, he talks about how it needs to be public. You can't create a bunch of stuff, show your work, but never publicize it. Because first of all, it's not going to get better. You're not going to get the constructive criticism that you need. And it's just, you're not actually creating content. Because the whole point of creating content is to put it out in the world and grow with it. And to grow with it. But if you just hide all of your stuff, then you're kind of defeating the purpose, and you might as well not even create the content. So I'm translating this over to showing my work in terms of my physical work. So when I am working on my skills and maybe there's someone else on another field and they're also working on their skills, and I'm thinking, oh, what are they thinking about me? Like, I'm worried about what they think. I need to realize that is good for me, and I want other people to see me working, and I should want other people to see me working, and that is a good thing, and I'm getting more exposure. I don't know. That's kind of just what I was thinking about today. I don't have all of these thoughts organized in my brain, so as I like to do with most things, I want to go through the why, the what, and the how. So, let's think about the why of showing your work publicly. Why should we publicize our work? Because, first of all, there's this whole idea of like all these bros, all these Chad, hustle culture bros are like, go silent, go in the dark and just grind. It's your winter arc, like that kind of thing. And I do believe there is an upside to that, because you have no distractions and you don't have people like hating on you, and you could just do your thing. But on the flip side of that, I'm telling you guys that you should be publicizing it, or not necessarily actively, but you should be okay with other people seeing that, because I have been conditioned in a way to think that no one can see what I'm doing, and then once my opportunity arises, I'm gonna rise up and like be really good or whatever. So I've been like conditioned in that way to think in a way where like I am working on my own and no one can see what I'm doing. But I am just now realizing that it is okay for other people to see us working. So let's think about why should we accept this, and why should we maybe even publicize it? What is the ultimate purpose of publicizing your work? Okay, so when you're publicizing your work, you're showing it to other people. So the ultimate thing is that other people are seeing that you are doing this thing. So when other people see that you are doing this thing, they either have a positive thought or they have a negative thought. If they have a positive thought and they're like encouraging you to do this thing, that leads to accountability. That leads to, yes, you got it. Like, you can do this goal and I'm going to keep you accountable. And that helps you be accountable of what you're doing. But the second thing is that they could have a negative thought, and they could say, you can't do that. You should not be achieving that goal. You could never do that. It's harder than you think, and you should just switch to this other thing. Like for me originally, like, you can't play baseball, you should switch to softball. Now eventually I did switch to softball because of other circumstances, but originally like I wanted to keep on playing baseball, right? So I'm not going to let other people say like you should switch to softball because I love playing baseball, right? So they either have a positive thought or a negative thought. The positive thought gives you accountability, but the negative thought, at least for me, gets me really motivated. Like, my mom was asking me the other day, like, what would happen if the coach of that team you want to be on told you, you can't play on this team, you're not good enough. Like, to my face. Or maybe I made the team and then I was just benched the whole time and they're telling me, you can't play on this team, you're not good enough. What would you do if that happened? And literally, the only thing that I think of if that kind of thing happened is that I would be so motivated to work even harder. Because when someone I feel like this is a normal human, like a human trait. When someone tells you that you can't do something, you want to retaliate and actually be able to do that thing. Like when someone's like, you can't open that jar of pickles, you want to like grab it and open the jar of pickles, right? So that kind of, like, if that kind of thing does happen, the amount of motivation that I would get from that, the amount of drive that I would get from that, it would be astronomical. So to conclude, to summarize, this is why you should accept the publication or the publicizing of your work, whether that be purposeful, like me showing you guys, purposely making this channel to show what I'm working on, to show what I'm thinking about. That is purposeful. Or when I'm literally at the fields and there are a bunch of other people there and they're all seeing what I'm doing, like purposeful or non-purposeful, it is good for you. Because if they have a positive thought, if people go up to you and say, you're doing a really good job, I'm rooting for you and I'm going to help you, keep you accountable, it keeps you accountable and it makes you want to keep doing that thing. But if they have a negative thought, then it motivates you and it gives you the drive to work even harder to prove them wrong. Us as humans want to be proving people wrong. And when people say a negative thing towards us, it makes us want to prove them wrong. So we will drive even harder, we will be motivated even more, and we will get exponentially better at that thing. So that is why we should accept this publicizing of our work, whether intentional or non-intentional, unintentional. So now that we've gone over the why, let's talk about the what. What does this include? What are the characteristics of publicizing our work? So let's just think about big picture, zoom out. What is happening in the situation? I'm going to use the example of earlier. I'm on this field. There are other people on other fields. They're all doing their own thing. They're not necessarily looking at me. I'm not necessarily looking at them. We're all just mind your own business. We're all working on what we need to work on. So when that happens, other people know, they might not know who you are, right? This is in an unintentional sense. They might not know who you are. They might not know what you're doing, but they can see, oh, that person is working on their softball skills, right? That is what is happening. So, like I said earlier, they have different thoughts about this. They're either positive, negative, or just neutral, like, oh, that person's working on their softball skills, and then they never think about it ever again. In that situation, that is one of the situations, the most common situation, and the most common reason why we should not be worrying about what other people think about us. So, as a side note. So that is kind of like the big picture view. You are working on something, and other people see that you are working on something. There are multiple other pairs of eyes that see what you are doing. So that is kind of like the basics of like, that is what it means for your work to be publicized. One or more other pairs of eyes, one or more people are seeing what you are working on. So that is what that is. So this transitions right into the how. How do we publicize this unintentionally, whether in an unintentional circumstance or an intentional circumstance? There are two things I want to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is how do we intentionally publicize our work? And the second thing that I want to talk about is in an unintentional circumstance, how should we respond? So let's start with that. Let's start with the unintentional circumstance. I'm sitting there, unintentionally, people are watching me, or not necessarily watching me, they're all minding their own business, but it feels like they're watching me. And in a way, it's like publicized that I am working on my own thing, right? So how should I be responding to that? First of all, like I said earlier, don't care. Like, don't care about what other people are thinking about you, because some of those people I'm never going to see in my life ever again, and they do not affect me at all. So I don't need to care about them. And maybe that girl who's on the team that I want to be on, maybe I will see her again sometime in my life. But that is then, but now is now. So you don't need to worry about other people are thinking of you. And like I said earlier, like, people are they going to have a positive response or a negative response? Depending on whether it's positive or negative, you should still be driving. You should still have the motivation to keep working on what you're working on. Other people seeing what you're working on should not drive you to stop what you're doing. When other people see that you are working on something, it should not stop you from working on that thing. I think that is a very powerful statement that I just said, because I think that this can be something that we all do. When we see other people seeing that we're doing something, we want to stop. We feel the embarrassment, right? We feel embarrassed. That is one of the characteristics of this publicizing thing. Like, we feel embarrassed that we're doing this thing. We don't know why, because we love doing this thing. There's a reason why we're doing this thing. There's a reason why we're working on this thing. But we feel embarrassed about it. Like, when I started this channel and people started finding out about it, I was embarrassed. I don't even know why, because it's something that I like doing, and it's something that I'm happy that I am doing. But I was embarrassed about it. So yeah, don't let the fact that other people can see that you are working on something, don't let that fact stop you from doing that thing. Don't let the embarrassment stop you from doing something, because that is just a stupid way to stop doing something. Because if you really have a real why, a real purpose for this thing you're trying to do, then that embarrassment and the fact that people can see that you're doing that should not stop you from doing it. Okay, so that is how we need to respond to an unintentional publication of what we're doing. So, how do we intentionally publicize our work? Basically, what I'm going to tell you is that read Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. It's a really, really good book, and it basically talks all about that. It talks all about showing your work, publicizing what you are working on. If I had to have one takeaway from that, if you want to intentionally publicize your work, and I'm more talking about online, like creating content, but there's also like a more closer knit, like friend group side, and I'll talk about both. So if you want to publicize your work online, like you want to start building a brand or creating content, like what I'm doing here, the main takeaway that I got from the Austin Kleon book was that you should have daily posts or daily content to put out. This doesn't need to be a YouTube video. It could be an Instagram post or an Instagram story or a Twitter a tweet or like an X or whatever it's called. It could literally be anything. As long as you are showing what you did that day, showing what you worked on that day, and posted it, then that is good. So an example of this is, let's say, something that you want to, okay, so let's apply this to me, right? I have my softball stuff that I'm trying to work on. So let's say every day I took a video of a certain exercise or drill or workout that I did. I took a video of that and I posted it. And I do that every day. Like, that is an example of showing you work. You need daily evidence of what you worked on that day, and then you put it out there. It doesn't matter. Choose your platform. There's so many platforms you can create content on, and they all have a viable probability of growth. I don't really know much about other platforms other than YouTube, but I know that whatever platform you choose, there is a probability that you can grow on it, right? So that is how you can show your work, like, online. Literally just create something every day. For me, I'm trying to make these What I Learned Today videos every day. Now, I understand that making YouTube videos every day is not something that everybody should do. I don't think it's something that everybody should do, but I do think it is, for me at least, it's been working. So, that is how you publicize your work online. When it's not online and you just want to keep it within your friend group, within your family group, whatever, literally, if you want to get the accountability, just tell a family member or tell a close friend that you're doing this thing and ask them to keep you accountable. That, I think, is a very powerful technique for your goals that is not talked about enough. Literally just ask people to keep you accountable. So that is how you can publicize your work. To recap, I talked about why we should publicize our work and what is involved in that kind of process, and how we can publicize our work, whether in a online sense or in a more close-knit people, family, friends sense. If you like this video, then definitely hit the like button, because that's really helpful for my channel. And comment down below, like, what work are you gonna try to start publicizing? Like, what are you gonna try? What work are you trying to start publicizing? What are you working on right now? Comment that down below. And yeah, if you want to see more videos like just like this one, then definitely subscribe, because I'm posting every single day, daily insights talking about what I learned today and how I'm trying to implement it into my life and how you guys can implement it into yours. So if you want to see those videos, then subscribe. I believe it's this corner, there will be a video that is YouTube specifically recommends for you. One of my videos that is like, YouTube is like, this person, you want to watch this video. So this is specifically for you. So click on that if you find it interesting. Check out my channel in this corner. And yeah, if you subscribe, then I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye! That was a banger. Oh, whoops.